Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my channel, Divinely Transformed. If you're new or returning, I appreciate you all. Thank you. So, I got a comment, and this turned into a series of comments on one of my video threads about my grandmother who was passed over on my father's side. Reaching out to me and telling me that she loved me and that she was sorry. Ain't no thing. I love Grandma Helen. She was mean to me, and I didn't understand why, and I was really sensitive and shy and timid, super duper shy, like little girl. Like, she died like when I was like 18 or 19 or something. I think I was 18 when she died. So like I wasn't really around her as a teenager because she scared the shit out of me as a kid. She really did. Like, I seriously come from a big family of mean people, and I don't know, I got victimized by it. And it got me thinking that I really need to do this video. This is about victimization, and I'm lumping a whole bunch of different stuff in here because it all fits into what I'm about to tell you, because this correlates with my actual life experiences and with my actual education that I hold along with that. So anyhow, this video is about PTSD, victimization, abuses of all kind, fear, Stockholm syndrome, all that stuff. I just saw 222 on my counter just as I looked up. Manifestations, partnerships, things coming together. Awesome. So anyhow, back to what I'm talking about. My whole life I lived in fear. And my whole life everybody was mean to me. And so like when I was a kid, like I didn't trust anybody because every person I come in contact with was mean or abusive or whatever in some way to me. And being a super duper silent, sensitive type, I just took it. I didn't say anything. I never said anything. I was sexually abused and raped later as a very young adult a couple different times. I put myself in a number of dangerous situations that I hold accountability for. But I'm here telling you about it. I was trapped inside of myself in absolute terror. And I didn't know what to do. So eventually I just decided I was just going to get mean to, because I had to, or the mean people in my family and surroundings were going to eat me alive. So I hardened. I got real cold. I got real mean. And for a minute there, my heart even touched evil. Thank God not for very long. Just like a few days. But still, that was the darkest 3 days of my life. I just wanted to kill somebody. I was like mid-20s. Young 20s. Not entirely sure, because it's all such a blur. Like, I lost my mind a few different times, and my mind expanded a few different times. And I just, I don't know what's what anymore, because I choose not to remember it, because I don't have an emotional reaction to it. It just is. But that's only because I faced it. And I was determined that it wasn't going to ruin my life. My whole life, I faced every single fear, one or two at a time, head on. Sometimes it took some breaks in between. But my whole life, that's all I did was work out fears so that I could be brave. Brave to do this. I never imagined 555. I never imagined, like when I was a kid, I would be doing any of this. I never imagined I would ever sing in front of crowds. I've done that many, many times. I never imagined I would ever be able to make videos. It's very hard to do. It's getting easier the more I do them. I'm not exactly a people person. I can be, but I'm pretty reserved. If I want to get my point across somehow, like, I get it across however I need to, in the most respectful and kind way possible. But anyhow, we need to get back to talking about fear and abuse. This is how mental, emotional, spiritual fear, pain, sorrow, anger, resentment happens and perpetuates over and over again until it expands so big that it just consumes your soul and just dirties your soul. Like, it's soot that blackens your soul that's clear. And God's just saying, just take a shower. Take a spiritual bath. Release all that pain that happened to you. Release all the karmic ties that you have. Release all the ancestral pain that has carried on into your DNA and in your spirit. Just, it's not even yours to carry, but it's on you. If you feel heavy and you feel so tired and you really are just so scared and you don't know what to do, or you do know what you need to do and you talk yourself out of it, therefore you're running around in circles. This provides false realities on situations, narrow mental focus shifts on reflex to perpetuate illusionary, obsessive thoughts that are affecting your everyday life negatively. Let me say that again. Provides false realities on situations. It narrows your mental focus and shifts on reflex. Your focus will shift on reflex to perpetuate illusionary, obsessive thoughts. Illusionary. Shit that you just made up and you believed it. And it affects your everyday life in a negative way. Like, you're thinking about person, place, or thing obsessively over and over and over and over and over again, and you can't work, you can't eat, can't sleep, can't take care of yourself, and you feel heavy, you're tired, you're just fucking done. What's wrong? You know what's wrong? Stinking thinking's what's wrong. That's what devil energy is. It's the mind. It goes obsessive. It goes dark. It goes addictive because it's craving something that it's when it's in lack. But when you're filled with unconditional love and radical forgiveness, you don't have room for anything dark. You're closing out cycles when you're doing that. You have control over your mind, and you absolutely can have the courage to stare fear in the face. Just find it. You have that courage. I believe in you. God believes in you too. And God exists whether you believe it or not. God and the laws of the universe and all of it. It all exists whether you believe it or not. God just wants us to be happy and free of pain so that we don't perpetuate and cause more pain. Why can't we all just get along? Do everything that you're afraid to do that is motivated by love or joy. Life is shorter than it feels, and no one knows when it's their time. And when your time is up, it's up. So, coming to the end of the channeling here, the time is now. Do you stand for unconditional love and radical forgiveness of all and self? Or do you stand to eventually be eaten up alive by fear, negativity, pain, sorrow, anger, etc.? Fill in the blank of everything negative. What do you want? You want to be eaten up by fear and deception, illusions, because of things you never even considered because you don't know about them. It's in your blind spot. You just didn't expect it. So the choice is yours. And Spirit, the Holy Spirit's saying it's irreversible once you make your choice. And you have to make a choice. So you're being encouraged to stand in your integrity upon your choice to be true to yourself first. Through the ups and downs, through the losses and gains, that you will choose only love and things that serve your highest good. If something is low vibrational and is weighing you down, you need to cut it off. No matter how much you love them, no matter who it is. It could be your child. That's harsh, but it could be your parent. Someone super duper close to you. You have to respect yourself enough not to betray yourself. To support people who are hurting others, who are abusing others. Now I'm talking about Stockholm syndrome. This is a real thing, and I experienced it. And I lived in this pattern for many, 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 many years, protecting abusers because I loved them and they provided for me. And even though it wasn't reciprocal, there was give and take, and there was certain expectations. They were basic, but they were there. Always knew what to expect. At least I had that. Kind of helped me numb my inside as much as I could. But I was just stuffing it. Stuffing all that pain and that sorrow and that confusion of why this happened and why that happened. And then all of a sudden it all went away. I'm blessed. I'm one of the lucky ones. I did this mostly by myself. Though recently I've come to terms that since I've recently discovered actually discovered that the way that I have eaten my whole life is abnormal, and that I have an abnormal relationship with food. And I didn't know it, didn't think about it, didn't dawn on me. I just thought it was a medical problem that I just had to deal with. And I was just real sensitive, and certain smells make me puke, whatever. But I really feel like it was all the fear that kicked in all of this super duper heightened sensitivity with my taste and smell and touch and thinking and visual everything. But anyhow, it doesn't matter if an abuser is taking care of you, they're abusing you, or they're abusing someone else, and you know about it. You need to stand up and tell someone and report it to the authorities, the proper authorities. You can't stand by and support abusers. Silence is consent and support. I didn't know that. And I carried this with me my whole life. Shame of shit that wasn't even my fault. I didn't even know what it was. But I still had that spiritual weight upon me from it. From all the times I've ever been abused. And it was fairly serious. But I understand that everything happened the way that it was supposed to. And I forgive everybody who's ever hurt me. And I love them all unconditionally. And I understand that they are just patterned and conditioned to abuse. Because they themselves have been abused. I have been abused. I have in turn abused my power in certain and specific ways that I should not have done. I have issues with control. I'm nosy as fuck. Like, seriously. Nosy as fuck. And I have to resist sometimes snooping around on people because, I don't know, to me, it's like catching up with them. Especially if we ain't talking, I gotta know what's up. But it's fucking snooping. And I shouldn't be doing it. And I'm doing better with not doing it. But there was a time when all I did was fucking snoop. And why? I had an emotional connection with my mother because, and that's apparent because my moon sign is Pisces. And water and earth signs are always, the child's always connected to the mother, has the attachment to the mother. But since my ascendant sign is Leo, Leo's like the see me, notice me sign, I mean, I try not to be so dramatic, but sometimes I just can't help it. And then I'll even say so when I'm being dramatic, just so I can have extra laughs to make fun of myself and have other people join me in the fun. But anyhow, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know, but whatever. I'm off topic. But when you're frozen in fear, it ain't fun. And then You make choice. Sometimes some people make choices to appease other people because they don't think someone else that they hold in high regard would approve of their choice. So they just don't do it. They don't do anything. They don't act on their desires, and they just stay stuck. Every day is the same. It's like Groundhog Day. Finding comfort and solace in that. But meanwhile, longing for happiness too. There's no comfort and solace when you're longing for happiness. When your heart calls out to you, answer the call. Bad things happen to people. It affects people in different ways. Oh, so I was talking about being a Leo rising, and it was the see me zodiac, and I wanted my dad to see me. I wanted him to notice me. I wanted him to know me. And he had no interest. I don't know how many times I've seen him in my life, but I can bet you I've seen him less than 24 times in my entire life. He just never bothered with me. That really devastated me. He was the first man to break my heart. And I loved him deeply. I didn't even know him. He was my dad. And I was filled with so much love and compassion for him. All I wanted to do was hug him. And he would never let me because he was so wounded. And I didn't even know. He was just mean. Just like his mom, who talked to me earlier, who I'm openly confessing to forgiving her for terrorizing me. I mean, I'm being a little bit dramatic because it really wasn't that bad. I mean, she just yelled when she talked, okay? And she was very stern, very short, and very sharp with everything. And then on top of everything that she would say in that tone and that manner, she would always follow it up with some creative light insult like dummy or klutz or I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Shit like that. And it was shit like that like I believed. Like I did things that I didn't know were dangerous when I was a kid, and then I was told that I was dumb. And then I believed I was dumb for a long time, but I'm actually extremely intelligent. But it took me a long time to know that. I was like, it dawned on me one time. I was like, I don't know, mid-teens. I was like, you know, you think you're dumb, and you're totally not, because you think all the time, and you're constantly planning things out, and worrying and wondering, and my anxiety was really bad in school, and I missed a lot of school, and I'm surprised I even got as far as I did in high school, and then I picked up and got my GED and went to college. But anyhow, if you feel like you need help, and because you don't know what to do, or you don't know how to get the willpower to do what you know you need to do, reach out to someone who you trust and deeply trust. And most of the time, I encourage a professional, like a counselor, someone who specializes in stuff. Like for my eating disorder, I got diagnosed with a brand new eating disorder that was totally new to me. And I'm going to be starting treatment for it next month, psychologically, and I'm getting all the medical testing done to make sure that everything's okay on the inside. Actually, I'm getting that done tomorrow. I'm getting a scope down my throat and in my stomach to check my throat and all the stuff in the stomach, make sure that there's nothing wrong in there, because I do have problems with heartburn and complex IBS. And like I said, I just thought it was a medical problem, but the eating disorder turns out to be called avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. And it's brand new. It's in the DSM-5. The last DSM I was ever familiar with was 4, so I didn't know all my life that I had a problem and that I needed help. All because when I was 2 years old, I chewed my food too long and I threw up at the table, and it was Hamburger Helper, and I just had a hard time with meat and hamburger, and I never touched Hamburger Helper after that again. Like the Stroganoff Hamburger Helper was ew. Every once in a while, if I have to eat shit like that, I usually stay away from that. I usually try to eat as healthy as I can. But if I do have to eat that shit, it's like lasagna flavored. It's the only one I'd consider. And I won't put meat in it. No way! But I'm really picky, and certain foods don't go together for me. And it's a problem because sometimes I restrict all kinds of food because I don't think that I can stomach it. I've thrown up so many times in my life, it's freaking ridiculous. And it was started by chewing up food wrong, and then fear just made it so much worse. And it just blew everything out of proportion. And I really want to call awareness to this eating disorder, because it's not something that you really do by choice. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's not because I'm worried about getting fat. I'm not worried about what my body looks like. I just want to be at a healthy weight. And sometimes I binge eat. Sometimes I restrict food to militant degrees. I was close to starvation at one point, throwing up foam that's like past bile. But like I just thought it was something I had to deal with, and I didn't deal with it very well because it made me unreliable in every aspect of my life, because I spent most of my time sick. Well, not most of my time, but most of my time in school was spent sick in bed. But as an adult, I would say at least a moderate amount of time was spent sick and in bed for whatever reason. And it was mostly, due to throwing up. And like, I will do anything not to throw up. Like, I have my tried and true methods, and I stick with that. And I need to have it sometimes. And sometimes I'll like have periods of time where I am totally fine at keeping food down for weeks, months, whatever. And then something happens and I'm not even sure what all the triggers are yet, but I'm going to figure it out. But a lot of it is psychological, and a lot of it is fear-based, because I'm afraid that it won't stay down, because no, I ain't afraid of shit anymore. And I say no to that. The fear monster can bite my ass because I'm fucking done with it. Are you?